My journey, my favorite topic. So I was a university student like all of you guys once upon a time. I still am, to be honest. I'm doing my master's now, but when I was doing my bachelor's, I was a student that basically I was looking for any opportunity I could get. So I am a big fan personally of never ever blame your circumstances for your situation. Always use your circumstances to your advantage, whether it be bad or good. That's what you do. So a lot of you guys must have heard with me over the past couple of weeks about how much I place importance on university group chats. I'll tell you guys why. So I was in my second year, and I was looking for any opportunity I could get. So in the beginning, you guys heard of Udacity, right? I actually went through a front end developer scholarship through Udacity after applying for it. But I found that, you know what, this doesn't really work for me because this is just telling me things that to do with coding. This is not actually helping me as a university student. So what happened was we were all in this university group chat of 40 people. And somebody, one of the admins in the group chat sent a message that somebody is going to come to the university tomorrow and he is going to basically put us into contracts. Around that time, I was working in security, so you guys can imagine I jumped at the chance. So out of 40 people in the group chat, how many guys do you reckon came to the meeting? Take a wild guess. Anyone want to take a guess? All right, cool. So two people out of 40 came to the event, came to the meeting, two people out of 40. Now, to me, I was under the impression that people actually want to learn and people actually want to succeed and get somewhere, but only two people came. So we went there, we sat down. I had no idea what to expect. And it was basically from the University of Bedfordshire, an individual called Gordon Brady. And he basically worked at the business team. And he used to work with local businesses and basically supply graduates to them through an EU scheme. And basically, we used to get paid and the uni used to get paid off as well. And the local business will get their job done. So I applied for a web developer position and I got the position and I was told to go meet the client. I went to meet the client. You can imagine I went with a suit, with a briefcase, everything. And when I went to see the client, I was shocked. I was like, okay. So I was expecting the client to tell me, these are our requirements. We've drawn a diagram. We've built this. We've done this. We've done that. We want you to build this. We want the header to look like this. We want the banner to look like this. We want the footer to look like this. We want the website to do this because I thought they're spending money. They obviously want a way to do it. I was none the wiser. All the lady literally said to me was, the client literally said to me was, go and copy and paste this website from online. I went home flabbergasted. I was like, okay, this is weird because I've never actually, this doesn't make sense to me. So at that time, I remember Gordon Brady, he advised me, he goes, look, clients are like this. Clients are never ever going to work to your favor. They always want you to pull a bunny out of a hat. And this is how they are. So get used to it. He goes, why don't you build a website from WordPress? I said, no, I don't want to do that because I'm not going to learn anything. The whole point of me here, being here, aside from the money that I'm earning, is to learn something that will benefit me in my future. So let me try and learn something. So in that, that was my first practical experience of actually working for a client. I learned HTML, I learned CSS, I learned JavaScript, and I learned PHP on the fly. I had nobody to help me. I was supposed to have a manager, but I didn't have a manager because this is how these governmental schemes are. I didn't have a manager. I had to do everything on my own. That project I completed it in the end. It was totally messed up. Everything went wrong. Nothing went right. But guess what? I learned the most out of that project because that enabled me to have the confidence to actually think of myself as someone valuable in my university, in my career. So what I did next was I started asking local businesses, can I do work for you? Can I build software for you? Can I build this? Can I build that? And I didn't know that students were not supposed to do that. And now that I didn't know that students are supposed to be dumb. I thought students, yeah, I'm a university student studying software engineering. I'll be able to do it. Then what happened was after I did that, I thought, you know what, let me start going to interviews now. So I applied for a few jobs. Obviously, I got my CV sorted out. I applied for a few jobs, and the jobs that I applied for, one particular story that comes to mind is that I applied for a job for a company who the company's name I don't remember. They wanted a junior developer, and the pay was around 250 pounds per day, and it was somewhere in central London, and the client was Google. So I went there, and the interview was in a very nice looking restaurant and bar type place. And I took my laptop with me and I wanted to show them all the work I did like a happy student. I was like, okay, look here. I built this, I built that. I built this using this language. I built this using JavaScript. I built this using PHP. I showed them basically the work I made for that client. They were very impressed. And their feedback to me was that, hey, your interviewing skills are fine, but the only reason we can't take you on is because you're a full-time student. I said, okay, that's fair enough. So what I did was I started going to more and more interviews just for the sake of experience, not because I cared about the job. I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have taken the job even if I was offered it. And luckily, I wasn't offered it a lot of times because I was a full-time student. But I used to go to interviews generally just with the thing in mind that I'm getting experience. I'm learning how to do interviews because in that time of my life, I just wanted a job and to get the interviews and CVs on my way forward. There was no other way I was getting into a job. So I was going to interviews. I was going to interview, learning more and more things, finding out where I was going wrong, finding out where I want to go in life. Because I'll be honest with you, I was like you guys. I didn't know what the world had for me after that. I had no idea. I thought, okay, let me find out what my field because I don't have anybody around me that's in software engineering. I have people in IT, but not software engineering, and I want to go into software engineering. So let's find something out. So I was going through, and one second. So I was going through that, and I came to the conclusion that I'm actually getting better at CVs. Sorry, I'm getting better interviews. Around the same time, I started freelancing. So as you guys can imagine, how confident I was after you guys can't still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As you guys can imagine, how confident I was after doing that first web development contract with everything right and wrong, and I still came out good at the end. So I started doing freelancing. In my freelancing, what I used to do was I literally used to build software for people around the world for like £100 or £50. So I remember at one point I was working for this guy from China through a website, and literally he knew that I could build apps to a certain extent. So he had me building an app, and then when the time came to give me the money for that, to give me the £100, he's like, "Oh, you don't need it. You're from the UK. I'm from China. I need it. I have a daughter. You're single." And I was like, "Okay, this is how the real world works." I was like, "Okay, so this is me getting a taste of the real world." So I was like, "Cool." So to me, my thing was just the my reward was bigger than the risk. So I was just getting experience out of it, and that's why I was there. I hadn't really no other interest. And I'll be honest with you, the first three blocks you see in your screen, you see on your screen right now, I learned so much in these. My first opportunity going through interviews and freelancing, to the point where when university finished, so someone else has joined. So for my undergraduate project, this is going to be helpful to you guys. So for my undergraduate project, I recently put a YouTube video about this as well, so you guys check that out as well. So for my undergraduate project, I thought, okay, I need to do something that's actually going to benefit me after uni. And so what I did was, my dad runs a travel agency, so I thought, let me build a mobile app for them. Not because I cared about getting them a mobile app, because they weren't too interested. They just thought, as a student, and let's see what you can come up with. I thought, you know what, let me use React Native to actually build a concept for an app, and let's see how well I do with it. So I started off with getting the requirements. Obviously, I was my own client. Then designing it, I designed it around 2 or 3 times differently. And then in the end, I built it myself. So coding it, literally, my life coding it was, when I started coding it, I used to wake up 11 a.m., code it all day at the library till 5, walk home, spend time with family till like 9. From 9 p.m. till 4 a.m. in the morning, I was just coding, doing nothing else. I was just coding. Looking back at it now, I'm thinking, why did I waste so much time? But I had no idea. I was a student. I had no idea what planning was. I had no idea what any of this stuff was. And my supervisor, well, how helpful he was that he only knew what I was doing in the last week. He wasn't really interested before that. Because I'll be honest with you, our field changes every day, and it's not easy to keep up the technologies. I was using React Native, which is pretty specialized. So it took me 6 months to get that done, and at the end, I had a basic CRUD application ready, which means the application was able to insert, delete, update, and read information. And I was actually pretty impressed with it because I was like, okay, look what I came out with. I had an API there. I had a database integration there. I had basically what a career path needed me to have. So I had that all there, and it was good. And I got a good grade out of it. But the most important thing about the undergraduate project was a story that I was able to tell at an interview. So at an interview, when they asked me, "What's your biggest achievement to date?" I always just talk about that. I was like, "Yeah, I spent 6 months doing this." And guys, when I redid that project that took me 6 months for somebody else, how long do you reckon it took me? It took me 6 months to learn how to make it. And how long do you reckon it took me when I redid it for someone else that needed help? I want to hear some answers now.
A
2
week.
months? A week? Any more guesses?
5 days.
5 days, good guess. Anyone else? All right, guys, inclusive of all the time it took me 24 hours. It took me 24 hours to rebuild the app for somebody else. Do you know why? Because I went through so much when I originally built the first app, through so many errors, through so many issues. It was literally like a maze for me. Let me give you guys a comparison to understand. Now, if somebody wants to go from here to Scotland, it'll take them pretty long the first time, right? The second time, how long is it going to take them? Because they already know the route. They already know how they're going to do it. So it's not going to take them as long. Similar with coding, yeah, it might seem scary at first. It might seem like, how am I going to do it? But once you go through it once, it's not difficult the next time, and the time after, and the time after that. So guys, we're going to take a break now. We're going to take a 10-minute break till 12:10. So you guys can like chill for 10 minutes, bathroom breaks, coffee breaks, whatever. And we'll resume at 10 past 12. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, great.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you. It's okay.
Is Sania Bashir there?
Guys, are we all back?
Hi.
Yeah, we're all back.
How many people have we got? Oh, we've got 26. That's
Okay, let us now resume. So, my journey was pretty long, but I'm gonna try to finish it in the next 5 minutes. So now let's get into the important stuff for you guys. Emphasis. So let me submit people to let me submit more people. Guys, should we give it a few minutes for people that are trying to join in the last hour? Okay, we have more people joining. Because I recently emailed to everybody about joining. I said there's 1 hour left, so just those who forgot can actually join now. We'll start at 15 past. All right, guys, we will now resume. So let's talk about my journey at Infosys. So 25 of us applied, and around 25 of us, about 10 of us got in. The Infosys said to us that they will give us an assessment day if we get as many people as possible signed up. So back to my poster day story. So we went to poster day, and Infosys actually came to the University of Bedfordshire because they wanted to hire people for the localization strategy. What this means is when a company comes to a new area and they want to hire local people to basically work with the local clients. So they came to us, and the careers service said to me, go and speak to them. And I was dressed in a tracksuit. I said, I can't go speak to them dressed like this. They're going to laugh at me. So what I did was I said to the career service, what to do is get the information of them, and I'll come speak to you guys tomorrow about what they say. Went to speak to them the next day, and they said to me that Infosys said that we will hold an assessment day for University of Bedfordshire students if they can get 15 people signed up and ready for the assessment day. The careers team had 8 people, and they wanted me to bring 7 more people. And I said, you know what, I'll be able to do it, because I was the admin of the university group chat, and I was helping quite a lot of people at that time. So I was able to bring 7 people just like that. So we went, and I'll be honest with you, all that interview training experience was actually helping me here, because I was going with my friends and taking them with me to London, and obviously I was guiding them on the way, what to do, how to speak, how not to speak, everything. So everything that I can do in my capacity. And when I was in the interview myself, I was completely relaxed because I already had a job at that point. I was a business development executive somewhere, so I wasn't too phased whether I got the job or not. I was there. I went through the interview. They asked me a few questions regarding technical problems, and I was like, I'll be honest with you, I don't know the answer to these questions. But because I didn't try to blabber, I didn't try to blag my way through. I just gave them honest answers. And that was a Friday. And on the Monday, I got a phone call, and there was the career service. And they said to me, Sheran, how do you think I did? And back then, I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit overconfident. I said, I reckon I smashed it out of the park. They goes, yeah, you've got the job. And I was like, great. I'm not taking it because I don't want to work in London. And the next day, a friend of mine said he's going to go. So I thought, you know what, I'm going as well now. Now, Infosys was a very good experience because it was my first experience with a job that is not 9 to 5. Well, in the first couple of months, it was. And after that, it wasn't. So at Infosys, our first 3 months was spent in training. So I used to wake up 7 a.m. in the morning, wear a 3-piece suit, go to the train station, go to Canary Wharf in London, and have training for the day. I mean, you can imagine being at the top of a building in Canary Wharf, how much of a great view it is. So we were there, we were going there early morning, having coffee and going through a training session for the whole day. We were given our own laptops, our own little phones, our own little entire package. And the health benefits that we were given quite a few benefits, health benefits, this discount, that discount. We were given quite a few benefits. We spent 3 months in training. So we were trained on Java, we were trained on MySQL, we were trained on MySQL and database, same thing. We were trained on databases, we were trained on advanced Java. Then we went into our own specialization. So I wanted to learn how to build apps. So I went through the ADM route, application development and management. Sorry, application development and maintenance. So that's the route I went down. And in ADM, we were learning Angular. So we learned Angular. We went through a course, and then we had a capstone project at the end, which is a project where we work as a group to build it. And yeah, it was a great experience. I mean, Canary Wharf is lovely in the nights, especially in Christmas. It is lovely, the lights, everything. During the day, also Canary Wharf is lovely because everyone's suited and booted, and everyone's like they've got a lot of good shopping centers there and everything. So that was the first 3 months, and after that we were put into projects. But then unfortunately, coronavirus happened. So I was supposed to go onto a project with HSBC, but unfortunately, after saying yes to me, a year went later, and then nothing happened because of coronavirus. According to my manager, because of the coronavirus. So after HSBC, I was on bench for quite some time, meaning I wasn't doing anything and I was still getting paid for it. Meaning I was just supposed to work on getting training and getting qualifications and stuff. In that time, I got my MTA. So I'm an MTA. I'm an MTA, which means that I've passed the Microsoft exam in Python programming. I got 82% in that exam. Then what I did was in that same time, I was given a work placement within Infosys to work with FedEx as an application development and maintenance engineer. Basically, a associate that's working on applications. So the application was a business to business, which means B2B, business to business application that would allow collections, basically, so businesses can allow collections to go between other businesses and them. So I was maintaining the product. I was making sure users were inputted, users were updated. I was analyzing the technology. I was analyzing the code if there was any problems. Front end was Angular, back end was Java Spring Boot, and that's how I learned quite a lot about Spring Boot. Then after that project, I was put into another one, and guess what? Guess what my client was this time? It was none other than Polar Ralph Lauren. So you know the polo shirts that you guys wear there. That was in Watford. I was working on them as a quality assurance technician, associate, you can say whatever. And my job was basically they were building a new mobile app, and my job was to just test the app. So I would go through the app, I would go through the mobile app, and I would test it to make sure that if there was any bugs, the bugs were reported. And I'll be honest with you, that was a very, very good job to add to my CV. As Sanya was saying, add all this stuff to your CV. That was a very good job to add to my CV because that showed that I can like go into different environments and I can also excel there. So I enjoyed testing. That lasted a month or two, and then I was moved. During my time at Infosys, I've worked for quite a few clients. I worked for Virgin Media at one point, building them a bot to work with their so the stakeholders, when they ask questions to do with data, the bot should reply to them with the data is. I was actually an author on that project. I worked with so Virgin Media, HSBC. Well, HSBC I didn't quite work with them. FedEx, Polar Ralph Lauren. Yeah, those are the four. I've worked for quite a few more, but those are the only ones that come to mind. But that's my journey at Infosys. That was quite a splendid journey, and I'm still working for them right now. I'm now a senior associate with them. I got promoted last year, which was very nice. And I'll be honest with you, one thing I learned that I want you guys to also learn: work is not 9 to 5. I've never worked a 9 to 5 shift at Infosys. Never ever. Yeah, obviously you work a bit hard when the project requirements force you to, but that's a different story. But otherwise, if there's no work, no one has there's no time on you, there's no clocking in, clocking out, nothing like that when it comes to software engineer roles. Because they give you a project, they expect it to be done. If it's not done, there are repercussions. That's the way it works. So if I was given a project in a month and I was to finish it in the first 2 days or the first 3 days, based upon how good I am, if I'm good, I'll have it finished quick. If not, then obviously it takes time. I won't have the rest of the month free. But if I was given a deadline in 2 weeks and I was to finish it in the first week, I'd have the rest of the time free. I'll be honest with you, that's how I feel works. I've been sent to many networking programs by Infosys. So towards the beginning of my career at Infosys was actually recruiting people for the Infosys Instep program. And I actually went to Cambridge University. I was sent to Cambridge University by Infosys to recruit Cambridge University graduates. And yeah, we did that. We were also being sent to University of Oxford. We were also involved in all the parties at Infosys. So when Infosys became third most respected company in the world according to the Forbes magazine, we were invited to a party there. The workplace culture is very good. There was a lot of goodness happening there. There was a lot of goodness being spread, and yeah, I've quite enjoyed working at Infosys. And I'll be honest with you, most of the big companies are like that, so that's why it's a good idea to get your CVs done, interviews, get yourself coached in interviews, learn some good skills, and get into a good company because they look after you quite a lot. Next, let's move on to